Hi, thank you for being here. I apologize. Somebody was sleeping and I just woke her up. I'm sorry about that. My name is Linda Steele. Thank you so much for being here today. I have a degree in the field from DePaul University. I hold 9 different certifications, which qualifies me as an elite trainer. I'm a specialist in nutrition, senior fitness, and exercise therapy. I work a lot with seniors. I work a lot with people who have had prior injuries, surgeries that they're recovering from. And I try to get them back in the gym. A lot of times you get afraid to come back into the gym when you've had an injury or a surgery of some sort. So I work with people after they're done with physical therapy. I own a gym in Chicago. I train out about anywhere from 10 to 15 clients a day. So I'm super busy with that. I am a co-host on UK Health Radio. I also have been on LA Talk Radio and on the Women's Broadcast TV Network. I am a professional model. I model bikini, fitness, and fashion. And I've written articles that have been published in numerous magazines. Again, regarding a lot of senior fitness and health and fitness in general. So of all of those things that I've done in the years that I've been around, I would have to say my biggest accomplishment is learning how to put myself and my needs before others. When I was 20 years old, I was diagnosed with a pituitary tumor, which is a tumor that sits in your pituitary gland, which is centered right in the very center of your brain. And I chose not to have surgery. I chose to try to battle it with meds. And it worked, but for years, my hormone levels were way off. My estrogen level was super low. And by the time I turned 27, I had the bones of about a 65-year-old woman. I had the beginning stages of osteoporosis, which is kind of scary. But you know, when you're in your 20s, you don't really think, what do I do to live healthy and live longer and to make some changes? The only thing I was thinking was, how do I get into that bikini? Like I really, my brain was still there. And, you know, but when my doctor did tell me what my diagnosis was and told me what my future could look like, it did make me reflect a little bit on the last so many years of my life, which is when I realized that I did everything for other people in my life. I took care of my family. I took care of my friends. My bosses always got whatever reports they wanted a day early. Everything was for everybody else. And I used the excuse of everybody and everybody else's wants and desires to keep myself from having to take a look within and see what I actually needed. Not only for my physical health, but for my mental health. So, age 27, my doctor tells me I have the bones of a 65-year-old woman. I decide, okay, I'm going to do something about this. So, I take up running. And because it's easy, I could do it. I don't need a gym membership. And I can get up really early before my family wakes up and nobody will even know I'm gone. So, just like I did everything else in my life, I took the running to the next level and the next level and the next level. And before you know it, I was running so much that I was stripping more of the muscle off my body, and which put me at risk even further for the osteoporosis. Along with that running, I didn't realize this then, but knowing what I know now, I actually turned into, I was anorexic as well. I found that I'd cut my calories down so low that, between the low calories, I was literally eating the crusts from my kids' peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. That was what I would eat for my meal for the day. I combined that with the running and I stripped more muscle off my body, which again put me at risk for, you know, osteoporosis again, as well as other horrible medical issues. So I did that for a few years. It wasn't until I was about 32 years old that I met my mentor, who trained me. He's actually still my very best friend today. And he taught me a program that he used. He trained, he was a master trainer for the United States government. And I met him actually while I was finishing up my undergrad. And he taught me this program. He was there doing a lecture on terrorism, as a matter of fact. So he wasn't even there for training reasons or, hey, let me show you how to get in shape. I just happened to overhear him talking about working out. And I knew that I was doing everything wrong. And he appeared as he looked like he could do everything right. So I asked him, can you give me some tips? Do you think you can train me? Can we work something out? So he did. He was a nice enough man. He started to train me. And while he was training me, while we would meet, for our workouts and so forth, he would start to take a look at my life. I would tell him, I can't make it today. I have to be at something for my kids' school, or I can't make today. My mom needs me. I can't make it today. I have to cut it short. I have, obligations here. And he finally is the first person actually to point out this fact that still sticks in my head. He said, you are a person first, you are a woman second, and you are a mother third. How do you expect to be a good mother if you don't take care of the person that you are? And I never thought of it like that, but his point was, if you become a good person and you take care of yourself and your health and your well-being, you're going to be so much more valuable to those around you. And he was right. It took me a long time, because what it meant was I was going to have to start telling people no. And I'm not really good at that. I always tried to please everybody, from my mother to the kids to my significant other to everybody. Everybody got a yes right off the bat. Can you do this? Yes. Can I have this by tomorrow? Yes. Everything was yes. And what I started to do, and it sounds kind of mean, but now when somebody asks me for something, my very first word is no. Sorry, can't do it. And the first time I said no to somebody who I had normally said yes to, they were so shocked. What do you mean no? That's not the answer that I was expecting. But I always say no now when somebody asks me, can you? I then go about my day. I kind of decide whether or not I can fit that into my day. And I go back a little bit later and say, oh, by the way, I can actually help you with that. So, if you still need me, I can be there for you. But first thing out of my mouth now is no. So this program that I was taught by my mentor is a program that I've done since the day I met him, for years and years now. And it's the same program that I teach and I practice on my clients. He watered it down to civilian use. So he was able to use it on me. He did not treat me like one of his special ops guys. There was never a drop and give me 20. He never said that to me. But what he did was he taught me this program that they do in the military. And it's really a balance of your nutrition, your cardiovascular activity, and your weight training. And it's a very simple balance once you get it, but it's really hard to understand because, we read things and we hear things and we think that, like I said, running is the best thing to do. You gotta go, you have to run. You must run so many miles a day. But, you start to realize over time when you start becoming educated in the field that running is only one aspect. And I actually don't prefer running. I think it's really hard on the body. And it's not just my opinion, it's a fact. It's very hard on your joints. So I do low impact when I do my cardiovascular activity. And the weight training part, I was really afraid that I was going to look like a guy. So I never wanted to touch a weight. Now, we talked earlier about muscular. Not everybody wants to be as muscular as I am, and you don't have to be as muscular as I am if you lift weights. Lifting weights and using resistance training is so important because building muscle is important for all kinds of reasons. I actually talked about that yesterday. But you need to have muscle on your body for numerous reasons. One, it burns calories during the day. Even at rest, it burns calories. Secondly, it helps build your stabilizers, keeps you balanced and keeps your coordination. It also fights against diseases, heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. It fights against numerous different diseases. It improves your mood, your cognitive function. There are so many different benefits to weight training. But a lot of people, they take the weight training to the nth degree. And sometimes that's not so good for you either. So you want to make sure that you balance out your weight training. The food part is so important and overlooked by a lot of people. If you're trying to build muscle or maintain the muscle that you have, you want to make sure that you are eating a balanced diet. The food pyramid is no longer around, and I never recommended it in the first place, but it's what we were always taught as kids. As far as balancing out your diet, what I recommend, what I teach with my program, it's a 40-40-20 split, 40% protein, 40% carbohydrate, and 20% fat. And the reason we do that is because if you can get enough calories in your system and you can get them from all the right components, your body will take in enough nutrients. You won't hold on to any food. No food's going to turn to fat in your system because you won't be considered an undereater. You're going to be loading your body with nutrients. You're going to be feeding the muscle that you have. Your muscle is actually live cells that has to be set under a certain set of circumstances in order for them to stay alive. So you have to make sure that you feed it. You don't make it work too hard by running too much. And you have to make sure that you're giving it not just nutrients and vitamins from carbohydrates, but your protein as well. So it's really difficult to balance your diet because a lot of people just don't know what to do. But if you could think and remember, or write down 40-40-20, 40% protein, 40% carbohydrate, 20% fat, you're going to be in good hands. There's another misconception is, like I told you, I was eating the crust off my kids' peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, thinking I was doing myself good because I was cutting my calories so low. What I recommend is that women start at minimum 1,250 calories a day, minimum. And as time goes on, you want to increase that. You have to take into consideration that when you eat food, that drives your metabolism. The digestion process runs your metabolism. Is one of the things. So women, minimum 1,250 to 1,400. That's a starting point. I like to see women get up into the 2,000 calorie range, but it takes a little bit of time. I don't expect that overnight, but over time. As far as a man goes, it depends on what their goal is and what size they are, how many calories they're burning during the day. But a man, I recommend taking about minimum 1,700 to 1,800 calories to start. And again, you're going to be increasing that. I train men right now. I have one man at 1,700 calories. I have another man at 7,500 calories. So the range for a man is crazy. So you can't go, everybody in the room isn't going to be, 1,700. It really ranges. So back to when I met my mentor and I started doing this program. I don't know if who in the audience has children or people that they tend to put first, but my day literally was start to finish everybody else but me. When I started this workout program, I put my kids in the kids club at the gym that I worked out in. And the kids club had monitors all over the gym so you can watch the kids club. I would watch my kids lay on the ground crying, sobbing, boo-hooing. I mean, full on boogers all over their faces. They were so upset being there. They weren't used to being put in a kids club. They were used to me being with them all day long. They didn't want to be there. And at first I was like, I can't do this. I can't be here. I have to, look at them. I can't watch this. And fortunately he talked me, my mentor, my trainer, talked me into sticking with it. They didn't actually come to my kids. They continued on with that behavior. Until I let them stay home and I just got a sitter. I mean, whatever it was going to take. But it was, as bad as I wanted to fail because they hated it so much and I felt like such a bad mom and I felt like I was really putting them through such hell. I just found a different means. I found a different way to still get what I needed, but to still make them happy. But at the end of the day, I had to make sure that my needs were taken care of. I had to. I was in a horrible state, physically and mentally. So a year after I started working with my trainer, my mentor, I asked him one day, I said, what do you think about me becoming a trainer? I kind of like this. And I feel like there are so many people out there that I could help. So many people in the same situation that I'm in. Not only do they put everybody else before them, but when they do try to do something to help themselves, they're doing it wrong. There's so much bad information on the internet. How do we know what's right? So he was the one who actually told me, I absolutely think you should look into being a trainer. I think you should become certified. You know more than most trainers out there already because you've had such extensive training. I worked with him for a year straight. And so that's like hands-on training. And you can't, get that anywhere, really. You can't get that from opening a book or, working out in the gym and asking your partner, hey, what should we do next? So it was very, very valuable. I guess what the biggest lesson, though, that I learned from him, and I still do it today, is that I was a person first, and that's what I try to remember every day. And I do realize that when I take care of the person that I am, the woman that I am, I'm so much more valuable to everybody else in my life. So I'm really hoping you guys all take away from this. Do you have any questions? We have a few minutes left still. Yes? The osteoporosis, the question was the osteoporosis fixed by my diet? It was actually a combination of the diet and the resistance training. The resistance training actually improves your bone density. And so, yes, the bone density and the diet. You have to eat enough calories. And this is something that I promote when I train my clients. I have them keep track of their calories, and they bring their daily plan into me. I write a plan for them, and every time I see them, they bring in 3 to 4 days worth of plans, and I want to see exactly what they're eating. And I tell them, I don't even care if you eat a Snickers bar, put it on your log. I want to see it. I don't care if you had Bear and Pizza, put it on there. I want to see it. So yes, your diet, because you need the right nutrients, and your resistance training are two very, very important aspects. You had a question? 40% protein, 40% carbohydrate, and 20% fat. Now, for a woman, I'm going to go a little bit more into that. For a woman, this is not necessarily for a man, but for a woman, I recommend the 40% carbohydrates, no bread, no rice, no pasta, no sugar. And I know all of you are like, I'm out of here. But I'm out of here because I'm Mexican and we eat rice, or I'm Italian and we eat pasta. I said the same thing. And, but the fact is, what I'm trying to get you to do is to take in your carbohydrates from valuable sources, nutritionally dense sources. So if you compare an apple to a piece of bread, for instance, they're going to look the same with the amount of calories, carbohydrates, proteins, and fat. They have almost the same. But if you look at the vitamins that an apple has versus the vitamins a piece of bread has, there's not even a comparison. So if you can load your body with the nutrients that you're going to get from fruits and vegetables rather than pastas and, rices, you're going to be golden. Now, when I have a female client, in men also, 17 to 1800 calorie range, you can eat brown rice, wild rice, but again, you're going to have to balance it out. Your whole 40% can't be from rice. It has to be from fruits and vegetables as well. Any other questions? Kids? It's hard to put a child on a program like this because kids are developing. Their cells are being born every day. Do you know when we turn 21 years old, that's when our cellular production starts to slow down already? We start the dying process at age 21. Isn't that sad? So for a child, I do a good rule of thumb for protein, for instance, is about a 1-to-1 body weight gram of protein. So I weigh about 120 pounds. I should have minimum 120 grams of protein a day. I happen to eat a lot more than that. I actually eat about 25 to 2,800 calories a day. So I'm taking in about 200 or more grams of protein a day. And carbohydrates for that matter. A child, a better rule of thumb for them is about a 1.5-to-1. 1.5-to-2 even. So say your child weighs, say 80 pounds. They should have about 120 grams of protein a day because they need that for cellular production. They need that for cellular development. They're growing every day. But it's really hard to get a kid to do that. They want McDonald's. They want, they don't want to eat at all, some kids. So, I do recommend protein supplements even for children. They have some on the market for kids. EAS is a company that they make baby formula. They have a great product on the market called Myoplex. And my kids have been drinking that since they were like 11 years old, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, so that's a good question. Any other questions? The question was, running is hard on the body. What do I recommend? I recommend something low impact like the elliptical, recumbent bike, stairs, upright bike, anything to get your heart and lungs in shape that doesn't involve impact. Now, try not to use another piece of advice that I want to give. Try not to use cardiovascular activity as a calorie burning idea. Everyone thinks, oh, I just ate a cookie. I have to go do cardio. I have to burn this cookie off. Try to look at cardiovascular activity as a means to get your heart and lungs in shape. That's why it's called cardiovascular. That's what it means. So it's not calorie burning. It's getting your heart and lungs in shape. And for that matter, when you eat enough calories, like I mentioned, you're actually burning calories. Or when you eat enough food, I should say, you're actually burning calories. So you're going to be burning calories that way. Did you know when you weight lift, when you lift weights, resistance train, you have about a 24 to 48 hour residual calorie burn, which means you lift weights and then during your repair process, you're actually burning calories, even while you're sleeping. More so. That's why I don't know if any of you in here work out, but you'll notice after a leg day, you wake up, your sheets are wet, you're sweating to death. It's because all night long, you're during the repair process, your body's like crazy healing and burning calories. So when you run, you only have about a 2-hour residual calorie burn. So that's why, again, I'm not trying to turn all of you away from running. I'm just saying you need to balance it out. It's not as valuable as you think it is. It's hard on the body, on the joints if you're running. And if you run too much and you get your body temperature so high, your muscle cells will start to die. Your muscle cells can only stand to be at a certain temperature. So if you're running and you're sweating and you're getting way too hot for way too long, your muscle cells start dying. So it's not, you have to, again, balance it out. 20 minutes of rigorous cardio is good. About 40 minutes to an hour of weight training is good. Balance out your diet, meal plan, meal prep. And you know, as far as putting yourself first, when you have children, you'd be surprised what you could delegate to them. Kids are really good at helping you cook. They're good at, if they could drive, they can go to the grocery store. I found this out. I found out that they could do laundry when they're 10 or 11 because I thought, well, they learned an iPad. You must be able to hit start. So I started delegating. I literally was like, I have all this time on my hands now. I don't know what to do. So if you have a little bit more trust in your kids and whoever you live with, you'll be surprised what they can do. And it makes them feel good to help. It makes them feel good. Now they're not going to fold the clothes like you do. And you may have to not look, but they could do it. You've raised smart children. Make them work. Yeah, I think you had a question back there. There is actually. This is something that's a really good question. I work with a lot of anorexic and bulimic clients. And what I try to do is educate them. I'm not a psychiatrist, so I don't have words of wisdom, but I do try to find an underlying motivation, an underlying factor, which leads them to that. And I know bulimics, they tend to emotionally take care of their problems with food. And anorexics, they have like control issues. And so I do happen to know those two basic things. But what I try to teach them, I try to educate them on, like I mentioned, food doesn't make you fat. Food is there to nourish your body. So both anorexics for sure, but even bulimics, they ultimately want to be thin. Okay, that's why they take in their food and then they purge it because they want to make it not be there. They think that food makes them fat. And same with the anorexics. They just don't want to eat at all. So The best thing to do with them is to just educate them and show them how important nourishing their body is. Under eating, when you don't eat or you purge, that's considered under eating. Your body is going to gain weight when it's all said and done because your body's going to cannibalize its own muscle to survive. Your organs have to survive and it needs protein. And the only source of protein on your body, if you're not ingesting it, is your muscles. Your muscles actually protein. So your body's going to start to cannibalize its own muscle. So again, you're going to be losing muscle that way. Eventually, you don't have enough muscle to sustain your metabolism, to sustain your calorie burning. You're going to gain weight. So education is the best. But again, it's so hard. It goes so much deeper, usually. I turned anorexic because I just wanted to be skinny. I don't think I was trying to control anything. I just want to be skinny. So, anything else? No? Thank you all for being here. I want to encourage you all to put yourself first. Put your needs first. You can still be helpful to everybody. You can still do what everybody needs for you to do. But if you put yourself first, you're so much more valuable and they'll appreciate it. Thank you.